Welcome back to some professional, beyond all reason. The 4v4 showdown, in my opinion, a much more reasonable, well, not that we're going for that, format for tournaments. Let me introduce, on the left side, okay, the careless tryhards. Stardom from the UK as the Cortex Commander. Flash, you know, Flash from Spain as Armada. Elmer Fudd. Oh wait, no, Stardom's, wait, is that Australia? Either way, the Commonwealth. Elmer Fudd from the UK and Pitak as Armada from Poland. This is, you know, this is gonna get, if I start introducing it, I don't recognize it. This is gonna get real dicey as we get to some of the other teams. Anyways, on the other side, the Pro Bar team with much more commitment to their names, as you can tell. Pro Daywalker from the Netherlands? Netherlands, I think, 90%. Like, Silencer from the UK. Zelen. And Randy. Overall, in terms of team score, I think it goes to the careless tryhards by a pretty decent margin. But it's gonna come down to coordination. It's gonna come down to execution, micro, macro, other strategy words. If you enjoy strategy words, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will give you strategy words on a semi-daily basis. And that's the whole pitch. But yes, this tournament pits dozens, a couple dozen teams against one another. They are best of ones, but whichever team has the best record will be the victor at the end. Oh my god. Okay, it just keeps getting so dramatic. Ryan did a good job. I think a key part that a lot of the teams, in my opinion, should hope to maximize is the sharing of resources and units. That doesn't happen as much in the public games, but the ability to transfer both your overflowing resources and the units we saw in some of the practice matches overall, and that can definitely tilt any of the lanes in a certain direction. So I don't think you can really look at the ranks to a serious extent compared to whatever these players come up with, because there hasn't really been incentive until this tournament to kind of min-max that style. The early exchanges, Ticks living up to their names, Pitak making his way by, and I think he got 2 or 3 metal extractors just to slow things down. Pawn's looking to close the distance on Silencer. He's already halfway across the map. So overall, the careless tryhards definitely trying very hard to keep their opponents pinned. All of them on the team, well, I guess besides Patak, have focused on getting that infantry over the center line. Sometimes to the detriment of the infantry count overall. Single Grunt makes it by. Daywalker finally brings the commander out. Stardom a little further up. Maybe able to take that valuable halfway mark. We're on the Valles Marineris map here. I really like it for 4v4. Probably my favorite of the like mid map sizes. I think it's perfectly designed for it. Everybody has access potentially to a geothermal plant. As well as a whole lot of metal, though not so much, like, it isn't important to move out. What do we have down here? Daywalker. A bit stranded away from his units. The grunts can outrange the pawns, but of course if the pawns close the distance, they have the DPS to overwhelm the grunts. Gonna join up here, but Stardom has added in some of the thugs. Firing from range, actually firing at the commander. If you can pick it off and pick up that juicy metal, 2,000 metal can make or break any game. Overall, though, I think the careless tryhards living up to their name so far. and continually putting the pressure on. If we look at the resources in the top right, overall the energy advantage goes slightly to the pros, but the metal, it has been grabbed across the board. It's a little hard to, because it fluctuates pretty wildly with Reclaim. But here comes Elmer Randy, beset on two sides. Still trying to hold the line, but Patak is making his way through, cutting off the reinforcements. But Elmer in trouble! He's in a lot of trouble right now. Doesn't have enough energy for the D-guns. No! Down he goes. Elmer now, 2K metal on the deck. And I assume, even though plenty of units went down there, we're going to see essentially the rest of them converge on the 2K on the ground. If the team can get it, it was probably worth it. As long as you have one commander, that's enough. Or so they say. That's what they tell me. Well, the rockets making pretty decent work on everything. But they're trying to... He's got some of them. Rarely do we see the maces. Usually it's limited to the thugs for Cortex. We don't see too many of the plasma bots used for Armada. But Patak feeling like he needs to get something a little heavier out there. But so far unable to grab any of that wreckage. And meanwhile, Silencer diving on him, Flash trying with several pawns, down to 30%, but the Grunt Swarm body blocks out the rest. Attack. I'm not sure what he's waiting for. Are you gonna reclaim, or are you gonna add to the pile of wreckage? He's close enough, so if Randy goes for it, he could potentially de-gun the wreckage and disintegrate it, denying it to anyone on the map, but the Grunts have moved their way by. Silencer will not be silenced. Not by Flash, not by Elmer Fudd. That's really the limit of the options right now, but just the general principle of the thing is what's important. Some of the heavier turrets coming up. Stardom continues to work his way forward as push Daywalker back, he's held the line, but the line is continually being redrawn. Grunts cutting out the reinforcements. Thugs working their way through. Rocket count is too damn high for Randy. He's cutting through the maces here. The aggravators, well, also living up to... God, Patak's losing so much. The efficiency from Randy. 200% damage efficiency, which is a lot of percents for those not-so-math nerds out there, which is essentially no one who's watching this game, so you guys understand.
The numbers don't lie, and they spell disaster for you.
The wreckage is gone. I'm not sure if it was claimed or... Well, I think we might be able to tell by metal produced. Yeah, Patek, it was 7.9 thousand. Well, I think that answers that question. One more time.
The numbers don't lie.
Stardom continues pressuring. Can we get the full overview here? Give you the lay of the land, if you would. Stardom with some heavy pressure on Daywalker, but still holding the high ground, which gives him a much better angle to fire down on those thugs. Randy flanking from the top, bringing some grunts in, bashing through the turrets, but the pawns will finally respond. Randy making a lot of progress against Patak here. But, oh god, like, look at the wreckage on the ground. How much is on the ground? 1,000. But he just doesn't seem to be able to get any progress. Some Resbots coming up, trying to bring things back to the table to fight one more time, and at this rate, die to Randy's rockets. Randy's rockets just sounds, I guess it depends on the context. Randy's rockets sounds like a billboard you'd have as you cross the border from Ohio into Kentucky. But, I mean, yeah, actually, that's the only thing I can think of. I'm trying to think of something more clever than that, but a handful of you know exactly what I mean. Get over the bridge. Randy's rockets, exit number 4. All right, right next to the gun store slash the urgent care clinic. Anyways. No Americans in this game except me, so I have to overcompensate. Which is just called compensating here in America. Anyways. Grunts pushing their way through. Zelen. I haven't even said his name in quite a while. He's played an acceptable game thus far. Hasn't pushed, but hasn't been pushed. Just holding the line. Meanwhile, the res bots helping Patak push back. Randy works around to the top. Some thugs out of Zelen. Stardom with the help of Silencer. Do we actually have tier 2? That tier 2 investment, 2,900 metal. Not easy to come by. But it appears Silencer is going to invest in. Nobody has a particularly great economy right now. The rocket's still going down. Grunt's closing it up and talk. The flanking damage is good. But it's not good enough. 20% is the result. Thugs still pushing through. Resbots replacing the thugs faster than they can be taken out by Randy. I'm not sure if they have vision of that tier 2. What is that? Tier 2 bot lab. Cortex bot lab for Silencer. Nobody has only 500 energy. Geothermal on the way for Daywalker, which is a massive boost in energy production. 300 more, which will quite literally more than double his energy production right now. Especially if you're relying on wind. Metal extractors being taken out. Randy still fighting it out with Patak. The pawns trying to get around. A huge surround on Randy. He's working up and down, but the pawns are taking full advantage of it, and down he goes. Randy's rockets have fired in one massive explosion, but potentially for the last time, and without the commander as a backstop. That leaves quite a weakness on the top lane. 3-3 in the commander count. Thugs still working their way through. Let's do some fancy. I wanna. It's very loud on the battlefield. That's another takeaway here. The pawns, shurikens have arrived to pierce our eardrums and stun the units. But a huge tech, I was going to say tech switch, but more accurately tech addition. The shurikens uncontested in the air, all the turrets are down, and the careless tryhards seem like they care just a little bit about breaking through. It's unclear, there's half a dozen players here. We've got, from Patak, he's got the pawns and the shurikens. Wait, what? Did Stardom hand him some shurikens to control? I believe he did. Yes, Stardom shared 15 units while we were in dramatic cinematic mode. Patak down to 11% during that as well. Almost got sniped off, but using the cloak to stay alive. The careless tryhards continue pushing their way through. And Randy has almost nothing left at home. A couple constructors. No, wait, those are trashers. I'm used to having the icons on. So what do you guys think? All right, do we? So, just for comparison, real quick, because while the game is dramatic, it's not quite over. So the icons I find make it easier, obviously, to find out what's what, but also then it just kind of becomes icon wars. I like it having it on a light distance for casting. For playing, I like all the icons on because that's just how I am. But you know what? Yeah, I'm coming around. Because we got a lot of noobs watching right now, and by noobs I mean soon-to-be probes. I think the icons are pretty important for kind of understanding what's going on. Set a keybind to toggle. There probably is one. Anyways, let's take a look at the map. Daywalker has pressed through. Stardom. He lent his shurikens, trusting Patak to use them well. And he did. But Daywalker was able to push back. Silencer has tier 2. He has the Cortex bot lab. He's making the Fiends. Which, on their own, I don't think are going to make a huge difference. But when combined with all the rest of the forces here... Oh, Flash eating some rocket hits. No, not enough that I think he's going to be in any sort of trouble. The map... If either side of the map becomes completely overrun, then it will be very easy for the units to just make their way down. Here. all the way through, where most of that economy is located. But if you hold the line on this area, all right, and you do a lateral pass to the back and go straight up the slot and find your receiver over to the right side with a nuclear missile, as long as it's not intercepted by an anti-nuke, you're going to find yourself with a first down position in order to push through to the enemy economy. So that's going to be a good time. Thank you. Overall, a significant energy advantage now for the careless tryhards to the west. They've established all the geothermal generators and are now getting, well, tier 2. So many wind turbines as well. Whose tier 2 is this? Who's got the lab? Ah, what's up? Who's been salvaging all these commanders? Heavy laser turret on the way. It feels like Pro Silencer. While he does have tier 2 himself, he just doesn't have the economy to put the units on the field to take back control of the map. A few Sheldons, a few Fiends, but the sheer amount of strong tier 1 units. Not just your lowly grunts and pawns, but thugs and rockets on either side. Patak did shy away from any more maces, though. They're clearly inferior to the thug life. A few Sheldons, though, working their way through. The hounds have been released. Hound, the Armada tier 2 bot, skirmish bot, has an option between the Gauss cannon and the heavy plasma cannon. The Gauss cannon, a lot more accurate, fires a lot quicker, has a higher velocity. The plasma cannon, similar range, but slower, more of an arcing lob, but it does a larger AoE damage. So, unless you're trying to hunt something down specifically, usually the plasma cannon is better, especially against those tier 1 units where it's likely to hit multiple. Now the hounds here continue pressing the issue. The economies are starting to grow dramatically, as once you get to tier 2, you can really scale up in terms of the advanced metal extractors, which are worth 4 times as much income, as well as well, I don't know if do we have any fusion? No one has invested in fusion yet. Just too big of a reach, too big of an investment when you have perfectly good wind turbines. Wind is at 16 on this map. The Martian wind seems to be quite a mainstay, which makes it one of the most, if not the most cost-effective option besides geothermal. Maybe even competitive with it. Looks like he switched to the Gauss cannon here. Able to land those shots more reliably. But things are slowing down. Sheldon's working their way up. The hounds. Ooh. Sheldon's hunting packs, of course. Quite weak on their own. Their strength is their oppressive ability to saturate an area with the mortars and outrange pretty much all tier 1 and most tier 2. Quite expensive, though, so be very careful with them. For example, hounds are the natural predator of Sheldons, if they are able to close the distance. Patak working his way down. Doesn't want to get into where the Sheldons can reliably hit. My, so many wind turbines. What is this? Okay, he says to the north. We're going all the way to the base. The economy itself is under threat. Meanwhile, Daywalker's still pressing forward. The rockets have the high ground, making it much more likely they can land their shots against anything pushing up. Hound's getting flanked from 3 players here, but over the hills comes Flash. The pawns running down the hill. The battle is yours. And then running back up the hill because fuck that, they said. As, well, oh my god, you gotta be careful. Some friendly fire, some unfriendly fire. The battle will continue. Thugs helping press through. The Hounds have retreated. Flash has moved his pawns back as well. But it looks like the Pro Bars have made a significant amount of progress. At least enough to claim much of this wreckage here. He is rezzing. There's 6k metal worth of wreckage on the ground. Meanwhile, the standoff continues. Daywalker has almost made it to the final plateau. Stardom building jammers, trying to hold. But his teammates are clearly focused to the north. Stardom has had enough. That 5, 3, 2, 1. The last defense. The commander itself. Unfortunately, several fiends made it through, and several fiends are enough to gut the rest of the economy if he's not careful. There's not. The Stardom has no units. It's a disaster. Oh no! For all the effort they put into the north, they've abandoned their teammate to the south. And now Stardom down to 250 energy. If he loses the tier 2 bot lab, then that is an incredible weak point. Now using this opportunity moving forward is Silencer. The Sheldon's still up to the north. They're wandering into some of the turrets, clearly under a lot of pressure here. As neither team able to lay down the full killing blow yet. The sheer amount of wind turbines, and there's a little space between them, which prevents some of the chain reaction potential. But still, pretty juicy targets. Daywalker making a forward lab now. Trying to press into everything. It's 2-2 on the commander count, by the way. Where is Patak? Oh, he's up there. Yeah. He's been repaired. Grunts and pawns chasing. The numbers aren't there for Flash. Without some static defense, well, the turret's helping out a lot. The commander's there as well. The Fiend's certainly helping out, but not quite enough to push through. And that is a tier 2 geothermal, which is essentially just a nuke waiting to happen. Not a mini nuke, but when it dies, it explodes and takes out everything in a significant radius. Ah yes, we're firing into the sky here. Don't quite have the angle. Fiends trying to make their way by. Overall, the economy still in favor of the careless tryhards, but most of the map has been taken now by the Pro Bars. And they have yet to upgrade too many of the Geos to tier 2. In fact, I don't think they've gotten any of them. Oh, no, here we go. Silencer has. Fiends holding. Flash desperate to get some more advanced metal extractors. Building the welder sniper combo. Pretty much covers everything, though not particularly maneuverable. Meanwhile, Stardom just trying to live his best life, which there's not much left to talk about. Not quite dead, but certainly struggling. Patak with some sprinters looking to break through. Quite a spread here. The spy bot trying to dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Gets a nice EMP, actually. That EMP was near perfect and may have just saved the game. Now, it's still going to be very annoying to deal with this, but those 4 sprinters before any defenses could have been put together. It's still dangerous. It's still not good, but 3 or 4 more sprinters before he really had the units could have been devastating. Still, though, the hounds are moving in. 1 fiend or 2 is not going to make the difference here. God, they're still in the back line. The tick. A single turret makes it through pawn. The economy is starting to be gutted. Meanwhile, middle of the map. Almost no man's land. Whole bunch of sprinters from Daywalker. Incredibly fragile. But if they get behind the lines, I believe, are they the fastest? Yeah, 111 speed. Significantly faster than Fiends. Almost as fast as Ticks. Alright, the Welder's moving to intercept the Fiends. Not so good against the sheer amount of HP. Advanced Geo. Fiends making their way past the center line. Will we see a Cerberus on any of these geothermals? I don't know if it's worth it compared to the sheer amount of energy you need. If there was going to be one, it would probably be here, but... More artillery. Lining up the shots is Flash. Oh my god. He's got the spy bot, but each of those shots costs 500 energy. And it takes quite a while to reload. This is he's going to solve the problem with quantity as his greatest quality. Oof. Scorpion, Sabot battery, as well as artillery. Oh my. It's getting rough though. Another great EMP. The Fiends are holding. Randy, though, losing most of his infrastructure. The Sheldons aren't quite enough. Daywalker still holding down most of the southern flank here. Silencer trying to shore up the center. Oh, beautiful EMP catches the vast majority of the Sheldons, allowing the Welders to close in. And Sheldon simply disappear. Flash in the center. Remember, in order to win a game of Beyond All Reason, you must destroy all your enemy's commanders. And right now, there's only one more commander for the careless tryhards. He is cloaked. But he does have tier 3. The experimental gantry is complete, and he's building Marauders. The strong, essentially Raider mech. The weakest of all tier 3 units, but what it doesn't have in damage output, it has the ability to get behind everything you know and love. The Marauders lead the charge. An entire firing line of Sheldons behind them. Some of the Sheldon shots are definitely hitting the Marauders. Friendly fire is very much enabled. But the Marauders very difficult for anything to really close the distance on. They're even faster than Fiends. So it's coming down to it. Unless Patak gets sniped, going to be very difficult for the Pro Bars to grind their way back. Daywalker adding some sprinters on. The Marauders make it into the base, going for the advanced Geo. Well, they got it. While they're shrugging off the grunt hits. The snipers dueling it out. Daywalker's done a great job. Oh, here comes the fleet. I'm not even... they're all fighters. They're just here to stress him out, mostly. There's not any bombers behind it. Usually there's bombers behind it, so that gets people really stressed out. But right now, it's just mostly for vision. Anticipating the bombers, but they're not to be. Those commanders are both in the center of the map, where the marauders are closing in, cutting off the reinforcements. Commander looking for a D-gun opportunity. The sprinters will overwhelm. But the base is melting. Marauders and all the economy, not even sprinters can reliably keep up with them. They can't particularly fight them either. Daywalker wondering where his team. The only player above, well, the highest efficiency in the entire match. Stardom also still here, though lost his commander a long time ago. Pitak in the safest place on the map, the classic sit cloaked in a corner move. And there's no nuke or anything with which to find him. Sprinters overrunning. But also, the Fiends can easily win that fight. Adding in some Arbiters here for range. Oh god, the EMP. It's a disaster. I think a hard-fought effort, but they dove on Pitak multiple times, never got him. And he ends up being the last commander that victory was built with. The economy at home is shattered. The forward progress has been stalled. Taking a surprisingly long amount of time to kill Randy here. But he will die. And with the concentrated efforts of the whole team, just chaining the EMPs. A good game. We saw all tiers of units. A back and forth exchange. Oh no! But at the end of the day, the macro of the careless tryhards just ended up being a little too much. The last buildings will crumble. Resignation. The final commander has been spotted. Though they've really narrowed down the amount of places it could be. And with it, victory and defeat. Oh, he's right there. Guys, hello! Why does the music stop so abruptly when the game ends like that? Overall, Pitak with obviously a significant contribution, though Daywalker comes out ahead as the destroying the most units, breaking all the way through. It wasn't until the very end they got to him. Overall metal used, clear which direction that headed. And metal production, energy production, units killed. damage dealt in the statistics. The aggression levels, actually, I think because they were continually being attacked is why they're so high. But the energy difference and the metal difference by the end, quite clear. But a solid back and forth game. Let the tryhards come out on top. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Make sure to check out Beyond All Reason. I think it'll be worth your money. It's free. It's free. If you like and subscribe, and check the description. Well, if you use my promo code, the first 100 people to use the promo code, which you're automatically enabled by liking and subscribing, will get the game for free, and so will everyone else. But make sure to enable. Thank you for watching. Stay unreasonable.